Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace. It is lovely to have you here. If you've seen any of my videos before, then you may well know that I work at a library, which means that I get to be around books all the time, which is wonderful. But it means that I add a lot of books to my TBR. We'll have new books come in from a different library or someone will return them and I just go, ooh, shiny new book. That looks cool. I should take that home. And what we have here is the consequence of my actions. At the library I work at, the maximum number of books you can take out at any one time is 24. Guess how many I have? I was at work yesterday and I had 23 books out at the time and I found 2 new ones that I wanted and I had to pick. I could only take one of them home. So it has to stop. It is time. I have to read some of these so that I can clear up some space in my flat, for one thing, and also so that if there's anything that comes in that I really want, I am able to take books out again. So the plan for this video is to get through as many of these as I can. I say this all the time, but I am a very slow reader, so I don't know how many of these I'll be able to get through. I only really have a few days to film this video and they are partly taken up with me going to a Taylor Swift concert, so we shall see. But thankfully some of them are quite short, some of them are poetry books and some of them are graphic novels, so I should be able to get through some of those a little bit speedier, but I would like to get through at least one novel as well. I'm not going to list all of these for you, but I will show you some of the ones that I'm thinking of starting with. So let me dive into this stack. Okay. So one of the first ones I would hopefully like to get to is this little graphic novel called Fangs. This is by Sarah Andersen and I don't really know anything about it beyond the fact that it is a love story between a vampire and a werewolf, and it's just really pretty. I love the kind of gothic black and red cloth bound composition of this one, and I've also had this one for way too long. I need to return it, so this is definitely on the list. And then one that's like right at the bottom. We have a book that I've heard so many good things about and I never really thought would be for me, but it came into the library recently and I've just been wandering around tidying and I keep seeing it and something about it is just calling to me right now. And this is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. Several of the booktubers that I watch really enjoyed this one. I think Heaney from The Book Leo, and I think that Hannah from A Clockwork Reader also really loved this one. Roshani Chokshi's writing is meant to be really gorgeous and lyrical, which is definitely my vibe, but I don't tend to go for the gothic so much because I'm a huge wimp. So spooky things don't tend to be my area of expertise. If you don't know, this is a story about a married couple. This man marries a very mysterious woman who, in exchange for her love, makes him promise not to ask about her past. But when she finds out that her aunt is dying, they have to go back to her childhood home, and he starts to struggle to keep that promise. And the house begins to unravel some unsettling secrets. I think the atmosphere of this one is just really calling to me. I don't think I've read a book in a while now that's really enveloped me in that strong feeling of atmosphere, and gothic is probably one of the easiest routes to go for that. So I'm intrigued. This really isn't something that is in my comfort zone, but for some reason right now I am craving trying something new and just getting wrapped up in something a little bit spooky. There is one more that I was thinking for now. So I did a video a little while back about trying to get back into my poetry girl era, and I got a lot of books out of the library for that video, and I've read some of them and taken them back, but I still have a good few poetry books out here, so I want to get to the rest of them. And one that I think would be fun to get to in this video is the Faber Nature Poems collection of William Wordsworth poetry. Now the reason I think this one in particular would be fun to get to is because I am seeing Miss Taylor Swift tomorrow, and if you are embedded in the Taylor lore, then you know that she has been inspired by William Wordsworth poetry in the past, specifically in a song called The Lakes. She writes about the Lake District, which is an area that really inspired William Wordsworth, and she mentions him by name. I think it could be fun to read something that gets me in that Taylor mood. And also I've been wanting to get into the romantics a bit more for quite a while, so William Wordsworth. So that's what we're gonna start with. We'll see if I get through any more than that. But I think for an easy win, I would like to just speed through something. So I think I'm gonna start with Fangs. We've got quite a gothic theme going on. I did actually kind of dress as gothic as I could. I have this dress that makes me look like a witch. So yeah, we're gonna start with Fangs by Sarah Andersen, and I will let you know probably what I think when I'm done, because I don't think this will take me too long to read. I have finished Fangs. This was a very speedy read. It's less of a classic story and more kind of lots of little vignettes, little moments within a relationship as it develops, but it is so cute. This is really adorable and really funny. Nearly every page of this is a new moment, and each one kind of has a punchline, and there are a lot of jokes about just quirks of life as a vampire or as a werewolf and the way that those two characters fit together within this relationship. And it's actually really sweet. It's obviously got some little dark twists here and there, and they joke about like eating people, but minor details. This is so cute. I'm getting very autumn vibes right now. Like, I even chose this little pumpkin mug, and I have my little pumpkin friend, and oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you, Chris got me this new little mushroom friend. We named him over on my Instagram. I put a little poll up and everyone decided his name is Maurice, and I love him. Very autumnal vibes, but this was very cute, very speedy, not a huge amount of depth in there, but it made me laugh, and the illustrations are really cute. So would recommend this one, definitely, if you're into spooky vibes, if you like cute little twists on spooky things like vampires and werewolves, then this won't rock your world, but it will be very cute and funny. So that's Fangs. One down. We're down to 23. I'm gonna start reading Last Tale of the Flower Bride now, I think, and drink my tea. I've got some little rhubarb tea. And then I think I might go grab some lunch and then head over to the library to read for a bit, stay on theme, explore. I will not take any books out of the library, but hopefully I can get some reading done there. It's not the library that I work at, because that's actually not the closest library to me, which is probably for the best anyway, because I don't think I could really like fully chill at the place that I work. Yeah, excited, a little bit nervous to start this one, but we'll see. Hello. Sorry for the awful lighting, it is quite late. I am about 120 pages in to The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, and I am really enjoying this so far. I can see why there might be mixed opinions about this because the writing style, I think some people would consider quite purple prosy. I personally really like it. I think it's just creating that atmosphere, and most of the characters in here are quite pretentious and really lost in their own heads and their own magical worlds that they've created, so it makes sense to me for the language to be that way. It's sort of somewhat serious and somewhat tongue-in-cheek in moments, but I do understand why it wouldn't work for everyone's taste. This is definitely one of the spookiest books I have read in quite some time, and I know to a lot of people you'll think that's not spooky at all, but for me this is heavy and dark for me. There are some quite dark themes in here. I definitely recommend checking trigger warnings before going into this one, but the atmosphere just feels so decadent is the best word I can think to describe it. The setting is very decadent, and the writing feels like it goes along with that to create that atmosphere and really wrap you up and envelop you in it, but at the same time very moody and heavy, and it feels like a hot summer day where the heat is kind of oppressive and weighs you down, and you can definitely feel things really spiraling towards disaster and darker discoveries as the story goes on. It's definitely one of those where you can't quite tell if all of the magic being explored is real or is all just in your head. I think books that explore that line between our reality and magic really can go either way with how satisfying the ending is, so I think that I won't really know until the end of this how I fully feel about the book, but writing wise, this is gorgeous. I will say that it's made me a little bit moody. I always find it strange when I read books with a darker atmosphere, because if it's done well, if the writing is written well and is able to suck me into that atmosphere, then that's good in terms of the writing quality, but I'm then in a bad mood. Or at least in this case, kind of heavy and a little bit creeped out in general. And I'm always a little bit unsure about if that is something that I actually want. But in this case, I think I'm enjoying the writing enough that it is worth it, and I'm very compelled to figure out the mystery of what happens in this book. I don't know if it's going to be like the most mind-blowing twist, but the tension is strong enough that I need to know. So I really need to head to bed because I am seeing Taylor tomorrow and I must have all the energy possible. We are going to the 100th show of the Eras tour, which is wild. So I'll probably bring this with me. I don't know if I'll have really any time to read. I'll bring the little William Wordsworth poetry collection with me too, just in case. So I'll give you a proper reading update when I get back, but I'll probably take a few little videos of the madness that is to come and show you my outfit because it's very fantasy vibe. I've gone heavy on the Evermore coding for this one. Anyway, if you can't tell, I'm very excited. I don't know how well I'm gonna sleep tonight, but I really need to try to get some sleep so that I can power through because it's gonna be a long day tomorrow.
You and I, we're about to go on a grand adventure together, and that adventure is going to span the last 18 years of music, and we're going to be doing this one era at a time. How does that sound to you, Liverpool?
I am back from Liverpool. It was incredible. I don't know how to describe it. It was a childhood dream come true, but also just so fun, so tiring as well. I do not know how she does that night after night, because we were exhausted just from standing there watching it and jumping around and screaming, but she does the whole performance over and over. I don't know, but it was incredible. Our surprise songs were wonderful, but I'm not gonna lie, I am still like catching up. I still feel pretty tired out. And one thing I did realize, I started reading while I was traveling the William Wordsworth collection, and I don't know why this didn't occur to me before, but it turns out this isn't a book that I can read quickly. It was cool to start to read it, and it sounds really interesting. I definitely want to carry on with it, but I need to give myself some time to properly dissect this one. This isn't one that I can just power through in a day or two. So we're gonna put a pause on Mr. Wordsworth for now, and instead I'm gonna grab another one of my graphic novels, which is the Tea Dragon Festival. This is the second in the Tea Dragon series, and I read the first one a few months ago and tried to get hold of the second one, but it's quite hard to buy in the UK, but thankfully the library had it, so very excited for this one. It's such a cute series. It's very wholesome, very sweet. This is about a world in which dragons grow tea leaves on their bodies and they have magical properties. Each dragon will bond with someone, become friends with them, and if that person brews tea from the leaves on their body, then they will be able to share memories with the dragon, or see the dragon's memories, I think, while they're drinking that tea. And it's just very sweet, very wholesome, which is a high contrast to The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. I am about 200 pages into this one now, and I'm still really enjoying it. It is definitely not what I would normally go for. It is quite dark, but it just is so beautifully written that nothing feels too harsh in here. Even though awful things are happening, it all feels very whimsical and fairy tale and almost dreamlike, which I think is the point, because kind of to the characters it feels that way too. It's almost like people can get away with things because they're living in their own fantasies. I can see that this book would be quite divisive because it is very stylized, and stylized books obviously aren't always for everyone, but it's working for me and it's really pulling me through. This is definitely the fastest I have read a physical novel in quite a while. I've been powering through audiobooks like there's no tomorrow, but actual physical books I've quite struggled with this year, and this is spurring me on. So I think I'm gonna finish this video tomorrow, so hopefully I can get at least a couple more books ticked off my list, but I will catch up with you in the morning. I have finished The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. I really liked this. It was so atmospheric and so lyrical, and I want to say pungent. It's a strange one because this is very out of my comfort zone. It is a lot darker than I personally would normally read, but to a lot of people it's probably not that dark. So all of the twists and turns in here were very unexpected to me, but I can imagine to someone who is used to the gothic genre or who has read like thrillers before. Sorry, my boyfriend is making me tea very noisily.
I'm going to leave now.
I can't remember what I was saying. I'm sure that all of those plot points probably would have been reasonably easy to figure out, but I am fresh and naive when it comes to any vaguely dark twists, so I was along for the ride and I was having a great time. It was one of those books for me that I've been craving, where you get to the end and you really want to just reread the whole thing to figure out what you missed and piece everything back together. And also just because the writing is so gorgeous, I think it would be fun to read again. So this is one of my favorite things I think I've read this year, and I very much picked it up on a whim. I'm definitely finding this year that I do not really know what my reading taste is, and often the things that I will love the most are just things that are new to me and are breaking what I would normally read, the conventions of what I'd normally go for, putting me outside of my comfort zone, because that's always going to be exciting. But yeah, if you like atmosphere heavy books, then I would definitely say give this one a go, and if you like lyrical writing. I'm feeling quite heavy, just like the atmosphere of that book has lingered on me. So I am quite looking forward to now hopefully getting through the Tea Dragon Festival, because I think this will perk me up a little bit. It's just going to be cozy and light and lovely. So we're going to get to this one now.
Are you a pirate, do you think? So am I interrupting?
I finished the Tea Dragon Festival. This was very cute. I don't think that any of the characters were the same as the characters in the last story. Honestly, it was a little while ago, but it's more set in the same world, but a different village, different story, different cast of characters. In this story, the main character Rin is out foraging in the woods when they stumble across an actual dragon, not a tea dragon, like a proper dragon, although they're quite humanoid in this setting. They stumble across this dragon and they have been asleep for what seems like 80 years. And during this time, they are meant to have been protecting the village, so they feel quite guilty and like this isn't the place for them. They haven't fulfilled their duty and therefore they're not a part of this town. So it's a story about partly trying to figure out what happened to send them to sleep for so long, and also all of these characters coming together to integrate them into this town. It's very sweet, very wholesome, very low stakes, which is what I needed, I think, after Tale of the Flower Bride. I will say that I've seen quite a few people say that these are their favourite books and they love them so much. And I don't think that they have hit for me in that way. I think they're very sweet and I really enjoy the art style. I think it's gorgeous. And anything with dragons in, you know, is always going to be a plus for me. But emotionally, I don't think I fully have connected with any of these. But I think that's probably just a personal thing. If you like wholesome, cozy fantasy graphic novels, then I would definitely recommend you give the Tea Dragon series a try. These are by Kay O'Neill, by the way. I don't think I've said that so far, but I absolutely love their illustrations, and I think they've done some children's picture books as well, which I think I can totally tell from the art style. I absolutely love a lot of the drawing styles in current children's picture books. When I was working at a bookstore, I often found myself really struggling not to buy the newest picture book that had come in just because I wanted every page on my wall. So that is the Tea Dragon Festival. I actually own, I think I said, the third one, so hopefully I can finish this little trilogy off quite soon. But I think I'm gonna stop reading for this vlog there. I have read 3 books, technically 1 novel, 2 graphic novels. I am also going to return 1 other book because it is a gouache painting book that I picked up because I really like the paintings in there that you can learn to make yourself. But Chris has then pointed out to me that I got my gouache kit a year ago maybe, and I've painted 1 thing, and we're very busy at the moment, so it's something I would like to do, but realistically, am I going to get a chance to do it in the next few weeks? Probably not, so I'm gonna return it for now so that someone else might be able to use it, and then maybe I'll take it out again in the future. And along with that, there are a couple of books I actually got out for Chris to read, but I was once again being optimistic because he has a very long reading list, so I think it would be unfair for me to hold on to those while I'm waiting for him to catch up on his own TBR and get to them. So that's 3 other books that I will be returning unread, but you know, they're still off the stack. So 3 read books from today, 3 other books, 6 books returned. So my stack goes down to a little 18, tiny 18. It's fine. It's progress. I will do my best not to take any more books out for a while until I've read a few more as well, but it definitely feels good to have space for if anything incredible comes in. And without this video, I don't know when I would have gotten around to reading Last Tale of the Flower Bride, which really surprised me and I really, really enjoyed. And it's been one of my best books of the year so far. So overall, definitely a success. I will just take this opportunity as well to say, if you don't use your local library, I know that not everyone has access to a library in the way that I do. I'm very lucky to have those facilities really close by to me. But if you do have access to one and it's not something that you use, I really would recommend giving it a go. At least go and check out their selection, because you may be really pleasantly surprised by the books that you could find there that you wouldn't then have to spend money on, or you might be able to find something new that you wouldn't have discovered otherwise. I think that libraries are such an incredible resource, and if we don't continue to make use of them, then we can't take them for granted. They may die out, which would just be so sad. Also, if you are a digital reader or you listen to audiobooks, definitely check out, your library may well have digital services that you can use, like the Libby app, or I use one called BorrowBox. That's where I find a lot of my audiobooks. I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of resources that libraries have. So that's my soapbox speech for today. Please just make use of your local library. They are such wonderful and undervalued resources. So I will stop ranting there and say thank you very much for watching this video, for coming along with me while I get through a bit of my stack. I would love to hear what your latest library find has been. Have you found a book in a library that you've really been wanting to read for ages, or maybe stumbled across something new that you'd never heard of before but really called to you while you were visiting a library one day? Let's just spread some library love in the comments. That would be great. But again, it has been wonderful to have you here. I hope you're having the loveliest day, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye.